Hello, y'all. Y'all know what time it is. Welcome to another edition of the Roth Talk podcast where we talk that talk. And this right here is episode number 8. And I'm so glad that I am able to have this interview today. So today we will be having my guy, Doc Horton, come on the live, talk about his record, talk about how did he get to this point, and we're gonna talk that talk, my guy. So you already know. I'm waiting for my guy to pull up, but in the meantime, I need everybody to go over to YouTube and take a look at my previous interviews, the Roth Talk podcast, where we talking that talk. I have interviews with Bob Sumner. I have interviews with Kanisha Kelly, Hannon Lane, just a bunch of multi producers, engineers, singers, songwriters. I got comedians on there. I got all type of people on the Roth Talk podcast. Also, if you want to be a guest on the Roth Talk podcast, make sure you hit that DM and let me know if you want to goddamn come on and be on my show. So we gonna get this thing pop. I see a few people popping in, but we waiting on my guy Doc to get up in here. And let me make sure he good. Where my guy at? I know he, All right, let's see. There you go.
There we go.
All right.
Hello. Can you hear me, my guy?
I can hear you.
All
Can you
right,
hear me?
man. I can hear you. I can hear you. We're moving a little in slow motion. Because,
You too, bro.
am I moving slow motion?
Yeah.
I can hear you fine, but it's circling, so I don't know.
Yeah. I think it must be a long distance thing going here.
You know, well, you already know I'm not in America. So you already know I'm not in America right now.
I,
So.
I understand. I
Yes,
understand.
man. Well, I can't really see you, but can you hear me good?
I can
We
hear
can still do our
you
thing.
good.
Okay, I can hear you
I
good
can hear you
as
good.
well. Okay,
All
good.
right.
Well, let me welcome you in. Let me welcome everybody in. So, hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Roth Talk podcast, where we talk that talk. You see right there, we talk that talk. And this here is season 2, episode 8. I got my guy Doc Horton in the building. What's going on, Doc? How you feeling?
Hey, I'm feeling great. How you doing, sir?
Man, I'm doing great, man. You know I'm out here finishing my last day of vacation before I come back to the U.S. You know what I mean, my guy? So
Yeah.
you already
I, I,
know, man.
I think those palm trees are messing up the connection.
I know. I think it's the beach. I think I'm too close to the beach right now. So that's probably what's going on. But besides that, Doc, we still going to do our thing. We still going to have our conversation and talk that
For
talk.
sure.
So,
For
so,
sure.
so I always like to ask my guests starting out the show is who is Doc Horton? Let people know who you are, what you got. You know what I mean? Let the people know a little something about yourself, Doc.
Yeah. I'm Doc Horton. I'm the Deacon of Pop Soul. But before I was a Deacon of Pop Soul, I'm a native of Norfolk, Virginia, a proud graduate of Norfolk State University. Norfolk State made me what I am. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for Norfolk State. And I was always singing and writing songs, even as a child, and had singing groups. And when I was my senior year at Norfolk State, my group broke up. And
Mm.
then I got a chance to go to Penn State for grad school. I said, okay, I'm going to run up there, get my master's, come on back home and get back to my music. I got there, they threw a PhD opportunity in front of me. I said, okay, I'm gonna get my PhD, and I'm gonna run back home and get back to my music. After that, then they threw a job opportunity in front of me. So then I became a professor and it kept going up the ranks, different universities. And 34 years later, I realized my music is still in the closet. My God. I said, I don't want to be that elder statesman sitting on the front porch rocking, saying, if I'd only. So I took an opportunity to get back into the business, and I haven't looked back. I've been performing with my band locally, and that's really been a great thing. And now uh, I happen to meet a young musical genius by the name of Rothstein Beatz, I think his name is. And
Hello.
this this young man changed my life, uh, modernized my songs, and we about to drop my first my debut single tomorrow, and called Reality. And I'm just over the moon. I couldn't be happier. I'm sorry, that's a
Hello.
long question
No, no, you
that's a long
good. You
answer to a short question.
good. You good. You good. Look, you broke it down, Doc. We got some time. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that history. So I'm glad you brought it up. But we definitely gonna talk about the history because I always like to start at the beginning. So now, Doc, were you always interested in the music? Were you singing as a young kid? Let's talk about elementary, Doc.
Oh,
Because
sure. Oh,
I know your real name, but they call you Doc, but I know your real name. But anyway, Doc, let's talk about young Doc growing up in Norfolk, VA. Was music a part of your household? Let's break it down.
oh, yes. It starts with my mom. My mom was a teacher, but she was a singer, and she would always be playing these albums. Where everybody else was playing 45s back in the day, she was playing albums. So she was playing Nat King Cole, Ray Charles, okay, Frank Sinatra, okay, Robert Goulet. And of course, she was playing the Motown sound, particularly Temptations. She loved some Temptations. And so I'd be going around the house when she'd be singing, I'd be singing right along with her or singing behind her. And next thing you know, it seems like my voice started developing. So I've been ever since I was a tyke. I think since I was able to hold a cup of water, I've been
Mm.
singing. Oh yeah,
Okay,
and
okay.
writing songs.
And okay, do you remember when you wrote your first song? Or
Let's see now. I tell you what, I think my first song might have been about I tell you I wrote a song called about Woody Woodpecker, and I actually and I actually later on I kind of modified it when I to sing to my little girl when she's a baby, but it was something like la da 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 da. It's the Woody Woodpecker song. And that's how I got my start.
okay.
And but when I was but throughout my teens I would be in singing groups locally, and I was right we would do our own songs.
Mm.
And we be those the days when brothers be harmonizing. Okay. And so I remember one particular song. It's three-part harmony called the same. So I sing the same old song. It'd be going in the silence of my room, filled with loneliness. I ain't gonna sing no more because I want to do that myself later. I just want to give you a taste, but
Yeah, don't
but
give him everything, Doc.
that's
Don't give him everything.
right.
Okay.
Just want to give 'em a little taste. And but man, I was writing songs back to back to back. And the thing is that I was able, because of my love for Motown, and really influenced by Smokey Robinson
Mm.
and his songwriting, and influenced by Norman Whitfield and his
Mm.
songwriting and producing. I really was able to change up the song so that very few of my songs sound alike.
Mm.
Okay, and I just had that type of versatility, and part of it also had to do with the fact that when I would hear when I would hear Frank Sinatra going, strangers in the night, all that kind of stuff like that. Or hearing Ray Charles say, let's go get stoned. You start hearing all these different sounds and all that. And so it influenced me. And
Okay.
then of course, when I hear here's here I would hear the temps go, and I could tell the way you do the things you do.
And
Oh,
that's my record right
baby.
there. That's my
Yeah.
record
So
right there. Hello.
so so I would absorb all that. And one of the things that I was blessed because my voice sounds like a combination of Smokey Robinson's and Eddie Kendrick's.
Mm,
So
mm.
I could do a little. If there's a smile on my face, it's only they're trying to fool the public. So I can move between those guys, and even my own natural voice. It's just has a Motown type sound. I was
Okay, well,
fortunate
hold
that
on,
way.
Doc. Hold on, Doc. Hold on, my guy. You listen, because we got to break this down. Now,
Okay.
during that era, like, what was the time frame? Was that when the Motown just was coming out, or was it they already kind of had their things going? Kind of give us a little timeline
Oh,
of when you
when
discovered Motown.
I just I discovered Motown when I was a little boy in the mid to late 60s,
Mm-hmm.
where mom be playing that Temptations Greatest Hits album right
Hello.
around about 66, you know. And in fact, I vividly remember being in the I think I was like in the third or fourth grade. All the little boys in the neighborhood going around saying, I know you won't leave me, but I
But I
refuse
refuse.
to let you go. I mean,
Hello.
the Temptations were it. And so all the little boys in the neighborhoods going around trying to sing like David Ruffin. And
Hello.
so and so and trying to do that temptation walk. I don't know, you've
Mm.
seen it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
You
let
know
me tell
it.
you something. Nobody, absolutely no group could dance like the Temptations. No groups. Many
Nobody.
have tried,
Mm-hmm.
but no group could dance like Temptations. Those creative moves they're doing while the lead singer is singing, it's just out of this world. And I was fortunate to in my late teens to actually when I was right there in Norfolk, they came to the Norfolk Scope, and
Mm.
uh, and I had a chance to see the Temptations, and that was something. By that time, Eddie Kendricks had left the group, and Damon Harris had
Mm.
replaced him. And
Mm-hmm.
Damon sounded just like Eddie, just younger. And
Right.
man, I just really, I was just in heaven.
Okay,
Um,
well
uh,
let's all right. Well, let's kind of fast forward a little bit now. Let's talk about the high school days. Now, did you ever sing in the choir at church? Did you have a? I know you said you had a group. Was that the same time you formed your group? So let's talk about ninth grade and 12th grade. Were you
you know,
still making a group?
Well, uh, it I really started. I started. We would have little groups out of my classroom. Guys, we'd be trying to sing like the Temptations, or trying to sing like Smokey and the Miracles and what have you.
Mhm.
But when I got into my high school years, that was when we got serious. That's when
Mm.
when we start making up our own moves and going to talent shows throughout the city of Norfolk. They and every project had its own like recreation center, and
Mm.
almost every week the recreation centers had talent shows. And so we go to the talent shows, and what would be good about us is we would bring our strobe lights. We'd have black on, have our white gloves on, because one group that they couldn't dance as good as Temptation, but they're pretty close. They're called the Unifics. I mean, you perhaps never
Mm.
heard of them.
Right.
Oh man. But brother, I'm telling you, you put those strobe lights on when you have those white gloves on, makes you like you're going in slow motion. And man, we were
Mm.
turning the crowds out. And those were the days. Teenagers screaming. I remember my first show. I did my first show, and oh my God. When I did like this, they were screaming. I did, and they said, and the other guy said, that's his first show. That's all right. It's just his first show. He'll be okay.
He a little excited. He a little excited.
I
Well,
was so
man,
excited because the girl screaming.
that's what I was about to say. I know back then the ladies was screaming like, you know what I mean, making you
Oh,
feel yourself. So let's keep it rolling, my guy. Let's keep it rolling. So you said earlier that you went to Norfolk State right after high school, right? Let's talk. Let's
oh
go right
yeah.
there.
And
Okay.
you know it's interesting. Just right before I got to North State, that's right around the time that Eddie Kendricks left the
Mm.
Temptations,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a nationwide search for a replacement. I said, "Oh my goodness,
Mm.
this is my chance." I said because I could hear in all of Norfolk, I didn't hear anybody sound more like Eddie than me. But then they had one policy. You had to be at least 6 feet tall. I said, "Oh my God!" They
Damn
just blew
right
me out the
now.
water. At 5'7", I wasn't quite tall enough to be a temp, so that
Oh my
crushed my dream a little bit. You know, I couldn't be a temp. So, but I continue on, and back in that time, we started doing a lot of stylistics too, and so things like, one day I saw somebody who looked just like you. She walked like you do. I thought it was you. So, we was really into stylistics and that type of
Yeah.
thing. And I tell you, a little some of the shy lights, guys like that and ultimately we actually got a band behind us, a backup band.
Mm.
So we
Mm.
was really doing some stuff. And then we started getting a little more into funk, doing more
Mm.
Commodores. You
Yeah.
know, one song that we really do, and I even do now, is Brick House. That was a big one.
That was a
That was
big
a
hit right in
big,
that
big.
time. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that. Hey brother, let me tell you something. That's still a big hit right now.
To this
You
day,
know.
that's so that's a testament of how great your music is. If you can have generations and decades of people who wasn't even born that loves the music that was going on back then. So that I know that was, we call that the golden era
Oh.
right there. So all right, so yeah, so you knew you couldn't be a temptation. So is that when you said I'm gonna go to college, or is this something that your parents, you know what I'm saying, your parents like, they crush your dreams like, hey man, you gotta do something. So what made you go to Norfolk State and then come on now that we gotta, like, you know what I'm saying, keep it flowing. I know you
All right, okay,
reminiscing,
okay.
but let's keep
Norfolk
it
State.
flowing.
Let me tell you something. First of all, the reason I knew Norfolk State very well because let me tell you something. My mom would graduate from Norfolk State, and let me tell you
Mm,
something. I'm a college baby. When I was born, my mom was a sophomore at Norfolk State. My dad
mm.
was a cook at the naval base. They were a young married couple, and when my mom didn't have a babysitter. I was the oldest child. She would take me with her to class. So I was going to Norfolk State when I was an infant. Okay,
Wow.
so yeah, so Norfolk State was my school. Okay, and even my daughter graduated from Norfolk State. Okay,
Hello.
back in the early 2000s. Okay, so I guess so Norfolk State's a family school. I got so much love for Norfolk State.
Okay. Now let's talk about Norfolk State. I know because we gotta get it's gonna tie into reality. So we're gonna tie into
Okay.
reality. So let's talk about Norfolk State, and you know what I'm saying, what was your motivation? Were you still writing songs? Were you still want to be a temptation? Like,
Oh
what was your
yes.
mindset around
I
that time?
I was in my group and we were writing songs for ourselves. Okay. And so one of the things that I was doing, I was in my senior year, and this was a little bit before my group broke up. But I wrote this song before I even presented it to my group. And I was just looking at the state of the world. Again, I was a child of Motown, and yet and it's inspired by Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On." Now, here's the funny thing: when I wrote "Reality," I was not thinking about Marvin, but I was thinking like Marvin. Or in other words, what I was doing was I was looking at the state of the world, and I was really disillusioned by the fact that we weren't treating each other right as human beings. You know, people were so obsessed with materialism and not caring about the fact that there are people who are hungry or starving or who are depressed. And one of the things I say, you could be rich, like the world is treating you bad, because if you don't have a meaningful life, you feel poor, you feel depressed. And that's why a lot of rich people take their lives. And so I was concerned about that. And because our reality wasn't matching what it was supposed to be. It was so
Yes, sir.
cold.
It's
It
so
was so
cold.
cold.
It's
It
still
was
cold, man.
it's still
It's still cold, Doc. And you wrote this back then, and we still having those same problems. So, so
I wrote
now
this
let's talk.
I wrote this back in the fall of '77, my senior
Hello,
year.
man. Now, did you when you wrote it, like, did it take? Was it like you kept flowing, or did you pause and come back to it? Like, how was it when you was
Oh
writing this song?
man, I sat down and wrote that song, like almost like in one sitting.
Mm.
That's how bothered I was. We had a few years before, we had a president who was seemed to be a crook, and he had to resign. It seems like people were just concerned about money and not concerned about people. I was just seeing gas prices were going through the roof then, and you had long gas lines, and people all worried about this, that, and the other, unemployment, homelessness.
Yep.
It was just bothering me, bruh. It was bothering me. And I just said, man, I had to write about this. You look at what was going on all over, not just in the United States. You saw despair and hunger and problems all over the world. I said, what's wrong? How come people can't get together? How can, if you see somebody hungry, why can't you give them a meal? You
Right.
know, why don't we just make some jobs? You know, and so I was just worried. I guess I was a little worried. I was a young guy. I was worried about the state of the world, and I decided to write about it. That's the only thing I could do at 21. I couldn't change anything.
Right.
I could barely just vote, but what I could do, I could write a song about it to express my feelings.
Hello. I love what you said, Doc. You said that you weren't thinking like Marvin, but you was really thinking like goddamn Marvin. I love that, because a lot of times the best songs that we really create come from an inspiration, but sometimes we won't even know where that inspiration comes from. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you're like, man, I'm just inspired. So with you seeing all those things that's going on, it just made it easy to write a song, even though it's a lot of despair and bad stuff. But we need to hear it too. You know, we got to hear it. That's why Marvin asked what's going on. There's so many other
That's
songs
right.
that, you know what I mean, that made a social impact, you know, because that's what we talk about society at that point. So speaking of that, so let's fast forward. Let's keep it rolling now. So you write your song, you graduate off the state. Are you thinking you about to go back into the music industry, or do you, or what's happening after that?
Well, like I said, after in fact, even before I graduated, I got an offer to go to Penn State, and
Mm.
uh, so I just said, okay. Uh, I tested the job market. It wasn't all that great. I said, okay, I'm gonna go to Penn State, get my master's, come back home. I get back into my music business,
Mm-hmm.
and I just kept on putting it on the shelf. And before I realized, it was 34 years later, and I'm a full professor. I had a successful career as a college professor, but I had a hole in my soul
Mm.
because I had not gotten to my music.
Now let's slow down. Now I know we said fast, but now I got to slow you down. Now, my guy, between those 34 years, were you thinking about music? Were you feeling like, man, like, did you ever have any moments of regret, feeling like, man, maybe I should have done this versus the path I've taken? Let's talk about that. I'm talking about between this 34 year span, because that's amazing. that you still had your dream 34 years later. So let's go between those 34 years. Were you feeling like, hey, like, damn, I should be doing this, or you just consumed with being a father and a husband and all that?
Well, let me tell you something. I was still saying in my mind, I'm gonna get back to it. I was still writing songs,
Mm-hmm.
and I go around singing my song. Everybody in my family can sing my songs. Okay, because people know my little girl would know my song ever since she was since she knows reality better than I do.
Yep.
Okay. and so I just I was going around singing my songs and that's what I was doing. Even though I was doing all this other stuff, I was still singing my songs. In fact in fact I got about 3 albums worth of songs. And and I think my family knows every last one of them. Okay. And sometimes they get tired of hearing me singing it, you know.
Right, right.
And
Now,
and so
all right, well,
go
Doc,
ahead.
I want to ask you this because I know a little bit more of the story. So, when did you start doing live performances? Because I know that's in between that time frame. When did you say, "Hey, man, I'm about to get out here and perform, and let people know that I got a voice out here"? You know what I'm saying? When did that start up, and what sparked
Well,
it?
Well, I was still, from time to time singing in church and just keeping my pipes together. I was still singing in church. Being in men's choirs and that kind of thing. Uh, and so I enjoyed that, but so I was doing live performances there, and sometimes you go from uh, when they have those special seasons, men's choirs go from church to church singing, and sometimes they say it's not competition, but it's kind of like a competition between men's choirs and things like that. And so I was still singing, but I wasn't in the music business.
Mm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I was just out, but I was keeping my voice good. Keeping my voice up, and like I said, but then uh, I met I met this about it was about it's about 11 years ago. I met I met this other guy who was a professor, and he was in a band. He was a musician. He was in a band. He was a musician. I told him about my background. He said, "Come on and sing a song, a couple songs on our show." Oh, okay, I did, and then I
Mm-hmm.
think I did that twice, and then I got a phone call one night. He said,
Mm.
"Doc, we got 2 bands. We want to start a third band backing you up." I said, "What?" I said, "Wait a minute." And I was about to say no, but then I stopped myself. I said, "Wait a minute." I said, if I don't get back to my music now, when am I gonna get back to it?" And I
Hello.
just said, "Oh." So I said, "Okay." And so we started a third band, and I encouraged them, let's start a company. So we had a company, we had 3 bands, and we were together for about a year and a half. But then I realized one important thing: you cannot have a company with 3 bosses. Somebody's got to call the shots. And so I decided that the best thing for me, because I wanted to be like Berry Gordy, the founder of Motown. And I just said,
Hello.
I wish them well. I left the company, although I invested in the company. I didn't worry about what I invested. And I left them in December of 2013.
Mm.
And then in January 2014, I started my own company. I restarted my band, and I got grooving. I ain't looked back. And I've been performing. What I do is not only I perform at clubs and bars and restaurants and stuff like that, and at conventions.
Mm-hmm.
I did not wait for opportunities to come to me. I create my own opportunities. So locally, I produce shows, and since 2013, I produce at least 2 concerts of my own every year.
Mm. Mm.
So yeah,
So you've been
I
not
listen.
you've been cooking, doing your band. And what's the name of your band? Shout your band out, my guy.
My band is called Doc Horton and the J Street Band.
Hello. Let them know. Now, real quick, Doc, go ahead and plug your next show before we move on. Go ahead and
Oh
plug your next show
yeah.
of what
My
is.
next show
Hello.
is going to be this Sunday, October 22nd at Proctor's Theater in Schenectady, New York. It's going to be from 4 to 6. It's and immediately following following the band's concert, I'm going to perform Reality for the first time publicly, and then we're going to have a big single release party. Okay, I'm hiring a caterer, a black caterer. We're gonna have at least 100 people there. We're gonna be having have a great time because this is my debut single. This is a major moment. I'm realizing my dream, and I am going to enjoy it. And I'm going to share it with the community.
Hello. Hello, my guy. Now that y'all make sure y'all pull up. Make sure y'all pull up. All right, Doc. So let's keep it moving from there. So you started your own band. Y'all been killing it, doing shows. Let's talk about where did the story go from there? Let's talk about
Well, COVID hit.
that.
Okay, everything shut down, and I started losing friends and relatives. Some
Mm.
that are right up my age, and some older, some younger. And so I say, wait a minute. I can't wait until I get the right band members to do my own music. I said, I got to do something now. And so it just so happens that I stumbled onto Clubhouse and into the music networking No Egos room.
Hello.
And at first I was not I was not going on stage. I wanted to feel the room out, read the room. But eventually I agreed to get on the stage. And I remember I had mentioned one day that I was from Norfolk State. And and then towards after all the introductions, I remember a particular super producer by the name of Rothstein Beatz said, "Does anybody need any help?" And in my head, I heard those angels said, "Doc, this is your chance. This is it." So I yelled out for anybody else could say, "I need help. I need help. I need a producer to help me modernize my sound." And you said, "Okay, my guy." And the rest is history.
Hello. Tell the truth. Tell the truth, Doc. And just like you said, those angels was calling you to say that. Somebody was telling me somebody in here needs some help. And it actually was two people. It was you and another young lady who reached out and said, "Hey, I need help." And that just let me know that I got like that's when you listening to your intuition and listening to what I'm saying, your inner self. Because I was like just random, like I've done it before, and then nobody would say nothing. You know what I'm saying? So then I was like, man, maybe I ain't gonna ask. But something kept telling me to say, see if there's somebody who needs some help in this room, and here we go, my guy. And so let's talk about the journey of creating reality, my guy, because I know we're going to be talking about it a little later, but let's talk about it real quick. Let's talk about the beginning process, and then, we can kind of back and forth the conversation because, we both was there cooking. So let's just talk
Yeah.
about the beginning part of reality. How did we get to this point?
Well, I knew that reality, based upon the way that people reacted to the song. I had sung the song about a year earlier to on television a cappella, and I knew that this song was the one. And so when we got together, that's the song that I presented. I submitted a tape, not a tape, a file, audio MP3 file, and and you had created a beat. And when I heard the beat, I said, "Oh, it was a totally different interpret. It was a reinterpretation of my song." And so much so that I had to relearn my song because you helped me to redefine what the song meant. And your beat helped me to go deeper. And then that was a preliminary beat.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you let me hear that final beat when we were in Charlotte, if there were other people in the room, I wanted to fall out and roll on the floor. I mean, that beat just blew me away. It was so haunting. It touched my soul. I said, "Oh my
Hello.
God, this is it. This is it." And I said, I don't, the thing is, every song is not for everybody. But
Right.
for people who are into message song, this song is going to hit. And I just said, oh my God, if I'm telling you, I just knew. And again, and it took me some time to really get reacquainted with my own song.
Yes, sir.
Because
The song you look for many years you were singing in one kind of way. So
yeah,
that's
and I had to totally change. And
hmm
that took me an adjustment. And but the beautiful thing is we took our time. I mean, we worked on this one song for a year and a half.
hello.
And, until we both agreed that it was ready. And I tell you what, I can honestly say, I would say to the folks out there, and I'm saying this. This is no hyperbole. This is no exaggeration. Rothstein Beatz is a musical genius, and I feel blessed
Thank you,
that
brother.
that he has agreed to work with me. Okay, he is my mentor. He's my friend. He is my brother. It's like I've been knowing him all my life, and I feel real close to this brother. But most importantly, he was able to get out of me what was needed for that song, and he would not take anything less than what he knew was my best. And I had to keep going over and over it, and because I wasn't getting, and the reason because I had to reinterpret my own song. I had to get rid of the old reality so I can embrace the new reality.
Come
I'm
on,
gonna
my
pause
guy.
right there.
Hello, that's a perfect look. Put a pin right there because that's a perfect segue point. Because when you sung it originally, you know what I'm saying. I didn't want because you one thing you always told me, you said, Roth, I want to modernize my sound, and that was like a big piece to you know what I'm saying us working together. So that's why I didn't want to make it sound like it was something from back then, but I still wanted to kind of have a vibe of something from back then. So I remember you was like, yo, you slowed the beat down. And the reason I done that is because your words that you were saying, I wanted to make sure that the beat matched the words. Because when your first couple of lines, can you give us the first couple of lines in reality real quick, Doc? Because that's what, you know, sparked everything for me.
Unemployed and penniless, no one seems to care.
Come on, my
Is that
guy.
enough? That
That's it.
enough?
That's it. That listen, that is so real. It's people that do not care about people unemployed or people not having food. There's some people that don't even care because it's not them. So what I wanted to do with the bass or the guitar and everything, all the other sounds that's in there, I wanted to capture how a person would feel who was unemployed and penniless. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to really capture that kind of energy. And man, oh man, every time I play this record for somebody, and it's a 5-minute record, and they will still listen to the whole 5 minutes. So, and that's another thing that a lot of people don't do is have 5-minute songs. So we still keeping it old school with that thing, but the sound is definitely for today's music, man. So again, Doc, I'm proud of you. Thank you for trusting me with this because you know I know. And then look, music is like our kids, you know what I'm saying? Like we don't want to do goddamn. You don't let anybody babysit your goddamn kids, you know what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that when you are working with somebody, you really get, you know what I mean? That magic that's supposed to come out of producing and artists working together. And like you said, we took our time because you know my motto: nothing good comes from rushing. What are we rushing for? We don't need to rush.
That's
Let's make sure it's
right.
right. Let's make sure it's ready. And actually, in about 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours, the record gonna be everywhere. So let's talk about reality. How are you feeling right now? And this your first record, or you dropped the record before?
This is my first. This is my debut, and
Hello.
this record represents my dream come true, and that's why I am just so thankful to you because Rothstein, you helped me realize my dreams. You helped this OG realize his dreams, and I'm not afraid to let folks know my age. If the good Lord spares me, next month I'll be 68. And
Hello.
one of the things I want to share to the world, and that is you're never too old. It's never too late to realize your dreams. So if you're sitting on your dream, do something. Go after it. Okay, it's never too late. I'm living proof of that. I am living proof of that. And now all my life I wanted to be a recording artist, and now I am. Thanks to Mr. Rothstein Beatz.
Hello, my guy. I appreciate you, Doc, man. It's an amazing story because guess what? When I become an OG, I want the young people to fuck with me too. I want them to rock with me the same way. So I'm giving out the energy that I want back when I become an older man, and nobody, because people look at you different because you're older, but you're talented, my guy. So again, I'm proud of you. I'm excited. Tell the people where they can find Reality at midnight tonight. Tell them where they can find us.
Reality is going to be on all platforms: Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, all of them. So go ahead on and get your copy. Let's stream it, and let's create a new reality, a reality where we begin to care about each other. Reality is a call to everybody to care about everybody.
Hello. Y'all heard that? Y'all heard that out there? It's a call for everybody because we all in this thing together. We all on this earth together. We all in this space together. So let's show some love and less hate. You know what I'm saying? Let's show love and less hate. And peace is the only thing that can stop war, my guy. Because we already know it's a lot of stuff going on that was going on back then when you wrote it, and it's still going on now, Doc. So how do you feel
That is
about that
correct.
for our last closing segment? I want to hear how it was back then to where it's at now, according to your reality song, and then I want you to give some words of wisdom to the people out there who are going to be listening to this podcast and seeing this podcast.
Well, first of all, back then you had inflation, people losing jobs. You had war in the Middle East. Okay, you had conflict between the United States and Russia. You know, uh, you had racial conflict here in the United States. We got
Yep.
all of that right now. And those saying the more things change, the more they stay the same has never been truer.
Mm-hmm.
And what I can say to all of us is that we can take that step. We can take that step by first step about caring for each other. And we don't have to start big. We can even start in our own families. Sometimes family members ain't getting along. Let's start bringing the peace right there. If you see a child in the community and that child maybe needs a little guidance, you know, try to provide that guidance. All right. Let's care about the elderly. Why don't you check on Miss Sadie? Make sure Miss
Oh,
Sadie got a meal. Okay? Let's care about one another. You know, and let's do it. Let's try to treat every day like Christmas time. You know, let's have that spirit of love and just help each other. And we need to start asking somebody, hey, listen, are you good? And people say, oh, yeah, I'm good. No, 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 no. Is everything all right with you? Is there anything I can do to help
right.
you? Because I care. I care.
There you go, Doc, man. Shoot, that's what I'm talking. We need people who care. So for everybody who's going to be seeing this, watching this, listening to this, please, like you said, check on people. Like, really, really, really take some time out of your not so busy day that you think you're so busy, but you're not really so busy. So really just take a few minutes, hours, days out of your busy schedule to check on people, call somebody. Some people would light up once they hear your voice on the phone. So, Doc, you are telling the honest to God truth. We need more love out here, and we definitely need to check on each other because just because somebody looking okay on the outside, you don't know what's going on the inside. So you definitely want to make sure
Absolutely.
you check in on people, man. So, man, oh, man, Doc, we've been talking that talk on the Roth Talk podcast. We have, man, covered so many great topics, so many things. It's some new things I learned about you as well. And do you have any last words to the people out here before we get up out of here, my guy?
Well, I'm the Deacon of Pop Soul, and you can see I can preach a little bit, but but I just want you. But what I want you to say, hey, reality is dropping at midnight tonight. I want you to go ahead on and stream it, and share it, and let's care about one another.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So y'all heard it here first. Reality will be releasing at midnight tonight. Doc Horton, produced by myself, Mr. Rothstein Beatz. I'm very proud of this record. I can't wait for y'all to hear this record. We've been cooking on this record, and it's going to be right in time for what's going on. So y'all make sure y'all stream it. We will be playing it on the Instagram. We will be on Clubhouse playing it as well. So make sure y'all pull up so y'all can hear reality, my guys. So with that being said, Doc, you my guy, you know that. We're going to stay in touch. We're going to be on. Look, we got some more cooking to do because we're working on another project, another record. But we'll keep that for the next interview. Hello. So with that being said, this has been another edition of the Roth Talk Podcast where we talk that talk, and I guarantee today Doc was talking that talk. So check out my other interviews on YouTube. This interview will be on YouTube as well. Thank y'all for y'all love and support. And make sure y'all check us out on Clubhouse, the Music Network and No Egos family. And that's it, man. We about to get up out of here. So, Doc, thank you again, my guy. And I'll be in touch
thank
with
you, sir.
Yes, sir. And to everybody out there, peace. We got